Hello, I am Jody Jacks from Broadway Clay, and I am here to show you how to make your own fairy house with one of our take-home kits. In your take-home kit, you will find about 1.5 pounds of clay, a glaze kit, a paintbrush, and a modeling tool. You may also at your home find a paper clip, a pencil. You are definitely going to need a little bit of water, and then you can use your kitchen utensils such as a fork, a spoon, and a knife to carve with as well. When we are done with these things, you just need to wipe them down with a damp paper towel and then clean them or put them through the dishwasher. We are going to start today by taking your clay and dividing it in 2 pieces. If you want your fairy house to be bigger, you could use the bigger piece of clay. If you want your fairy house to be smaller, you could use the smaller piece of clay. I'm going to use a bigger piece of clay for my fairy house. I'm going to take this clay and I'm going to pound it into a ball. Once you get this into a nice ball, we are going to make a large pinch pot with this. And I just want you to know that clay is water-based and it can dry out. So as soon as you open up your clay, you need to start using it, and you can't just leave it out and come back to it later. It will harden and you won't be able to sculpt with it. If that happens, you need to let us know. We can tell you how to reconstitute your clay or give you a new piece. But it's easier if you just work in one setting. I'm going to make a large pinch pot out of this. I'm going to gently take my finger and twist it, and I still have about a thumb's worth of material in the bottom of my pot. Now at this point you have to decide if you want this to be tall and skinny or if you want this to be wider. Sometimes as you work with your clay, it kind of tells you what it wants to be. So I am taking my fingers and pinching the clay together. We do not want this to get too thin because then it isn't going to hold its shape. I am trying to keep my whole piece about the thickness of my pinky. Right now the top is a little big, so I'm going to come back and I'm going to be pinching that top down. Another thing that you can do is actually lay this in your hand and gently push it towards your hand. The more you compress clay, the solider it will be a little firmer, but you don't want to press it so much. If you start to get lots of cracks, it may be time to stop. So I'm going to take mine, I'm going to pinch it out, and you have to make a decision here. Some people may want their house to be upside down like a dome, and they could actually cut a door out with it, or if that is more advanced, so if you would like to do that, then if you've worked in classes, you can work that way and cut things out like that. You could even add things up at the top. I'm going to show you an easier way, which is to take this and we are gently going to let it sit here against the table. This clay right now, I'm going to dip my finger in here. I'm going to gently rub a little bit of water on here and fix the edges, although it's fine to have some cracking because this is an organic fairy house. I'm going to now set this aside and let it firm up. This is probably going to take about a half an hour before your major part of your fairy house is ready. It needs to firm up a little bit. You definitely don't want it to turn white, but you want it to be holding its shape. While I let that hold its shape, I can come back over here and I can make some little mushrooms, I can make furniture. Things like this are up to you, but what I do ask is try to keep things at least as thick as your pinky. Otherwise, I'm afraid they might break. Let me start by just making a little fairy. If I'm gonna make a fairy, I'm going to keep her pretty thick. I want her to be about the thickness of my pinky. I'm gonna make this her little fairy body. Needs a little bit more clay. Roll her out a little bit. I'm gonna give her a little fairy skirt. I'm gonna attach this head on. Now, when you attach things together, you have to score and slip. You can score with small things. A paper clip works very nicely, or you can use your kitchen fork, and this is where the head is. You take a little dab of water on both pieces, and then you will take them and gently wiggle them together. So if this is my fairy, this would be her little body. And if you wanted to add other things, I would suggest sculpting them in. So you could give her, you could use your paintbrush, you could give her some eyes. You could use your pencil. Give her a little smile. You might definitely want to give her a little fairy hair. So I'm gonna make my fairy hair kind of thick. It's a little thinner than my pinky, but what I am gonna do is score and slip her hair on here. Little water. And I'm gonna take her fairy hair and let it touch the back of her body. It's the same thing with fairy wings. If you want her to have some fairy wings, we're gonna have to make those kind of thick. And I'm going to attach her fairy wings to the side of her body. So I'm gonna go like this on my table to give me a nice flat surface. I'm going to scratch these. Little bit of water here and here. Gently wiggle them into place. Wiggle them into place. Gonna look at my fairy. Gonna move her wings back a little bit. Squeeze them out just a little bit. We just wanna make sure that she's staying pretty thick. You could take your knife and you could put some designs in there with the knife. You could use your modeling tool and gently add some lines in with your modeling tool. You could take your paintbrush. You could add some details to your little fairy. It is up to you. Just don't make things too skinny because when it dries, it's gonna break on you. I'm gonna put my fairy over here. I can make some little mushrooms. I'm gonna make a little mushroom table. So I'm gonna use this for the bottom. Roll this into a ball. I'm gonna make a tiny pinch pot. I'm gonna roll this into a thick coil. I want to make sure this stands up. I'm going to gently squeeze it down, and I'm going to add scratching. There's a little mushroom. Make sure your mushroom will stand up. Press them on the table. So you could make mushrooms. This could be a table. If you wanted to make things, once your fairy house has sat up, it will be a little bit firmer, and you could actually make some things and put it in there. Let's say I want a little chair. I could take my clay, smishing it together. I'm making a rectangle. I'm going to take my rectangle and set it up. This is going to be my little fairy chair. I do think my fairy chair needs some designs in it. Probably gonna paint polka dots on the front. Then I have to decide where I want my fairy chair to go, or maybe it's just going to be separate. That would be fine as well. Take my fairy chair, score and slip, little water. You put a fairy chair in there. I think my fairy would like to have a vase. So I might take my clay and I might make a little teeny tiny pinch pot vase. This looks more like a bowl. Maybe that's a bowl for the fairy maybe that could attach to my mushroom. But this could be a bowl or that could be a vase. You might want to add a chimney to your house for the winter. I'm going to kind of roll this out. I'm going to push it around my finger. Roll it out again. Push this down. And I can actually score this here. Score on my fairy house. And add myself a little chimney. You might want to add a window onto your fairy house. Now, once this is firm enough, you could actually cut a little window out. I would suggest doing this with a paper clip. So you could have a little window, or you could make a window with some coils. Make sure when you use coils, your clay has to be really wet and you have to use it immediately. I'm gonna make myself a long coil. I'm going to shape it into a window. You could even add the little crossbars in there if you wanted. And I'm going to scratch I'm going to use the flat side of my window. I'm going to scratch this up. When I'm done making all of my pieces, you are going to need to glaze them. What I ask is that you do not glaze the bottom of your pieces. So anything that's going to sit on the table, don't glaze that. We will have to be wiping it off. Glaze turns glassy in the kiln. We will actually be firing these, dipping them in clear, and refiring them. If you don't have the color you want, say you want to do polka dots, I would just paint the colored polka dots on here, and what you don't paint is going to be a white or cream color. You do not have to glaze or paint the entire fairy, all of these pieces. We will dip them in glaze for you. There are millions of options to do with this project. I have shown you a few things here. You may want to search on Google for a ceramic fairy house and see what you see. You might find some other ideas. The only thing I want to warn you about is you can't make things too thin. Things that are skinny and stick off. If this was just sticking off of here, it's gonna break eventually. Clay is strong like this, but after it dries, it gets to be very brittle. Once you've let this set out and everything is hard, I would package it back up, and you're gonna put it back in your bag and send it back over here to Broadway Clay, and we'll be firing it for you. If you have any questions, let us know, and have fun creating.